Hello, Wear Many Hats listeners. We are here today with another Risings podcast. I really like these ones. They're really good. And we are joined by someone who was actually recommended to the podcast via a previous podcast guest. And his podcast will be released in the coming weeks, actually. But we're really happy to be joined today by Daniel Badibengi. Daniel is a building manager for Knight Frank Promise. And he joined the facilities management industry as a graduate. So, Daniel, pleasure to have you on. How you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm very chuffed to be here.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure, mate. Listen, like I said, the questions are going to be really easy, but the one that I always like to start with, especially on this, is, tell us a little bit about yourself and just share your background and what your journey was into facilities management, because I see that you did some rather interesting things in university.
Yeah, so initially started off, I just went through an educational route. So after secondary school, just went to college, and then I studied just your typical academic subjects. I did do theatre, which was more a subject that I just wanted to find more relaxing, but then it turned more into a hobby, whereas I wasn't necessarily someone who took part in football as much.
Right.
So theatre was kind of like just an escape. But I didn't necessarily progress with theatre. So what I'd done is, when it was the time to select my university degrees, I just stayed with what I'd done in A-levels, which was the sociology, but I just combined it with communications.
Yeah. How did you find sociology then? Did you enjoy it?
It was really good because it was enlightening in terms of understanding people and society. Yeah. So I felt like it was just quite interesting than like your standard subjects that you would get, for example, like the maths. And it was just more. It was a bit creative, but it was like the social aspect that I just really liked about it.
Yeah. Because you did psychology as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So I studied that at A-level, but with that one, I thought it was a bit too tricky. So I thought, I didn't necessarily have much of an interest in it, so I didn't progress it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. One of my cousins is a psychology major, actually.
Oh, nice.
She's always telling me the problems I have.
Yeah, exactly. And with that subject, like you'll do degree level, and then you'd have to do like a PhD. Yeah, so there's just too much learning
that's what she's doing now, actually, a PhD. Yeah. To be fair, I'm really proud of her. She's actually done really, really well. Long way to continue. Yeah. But quite an interesting mix: sociology, psychology, theatre.
Yeah, exactly.
It's quite an interesting one, isn't it? To be fair.
Yeah, because I chose subjects that I felt I would obviously enjoy, but at the same time, I don't know, I kind of wanted that variety in terms of just understanding like a lot of things.
Yeah. So where is it you went to university again?
I went to Brunel University.
Oh, Brunel.
Yeah.
What an engineer that man was. Hey, built some good bridges, that fella, didn't he? They're still standing today as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, listen, tell us about how you transitioned from university then, after doing those subjects, into the facilities management world. Tell us a bit about that.
Right. So with that now, like any typical university student, you leave uni and there's not really much support. Yeah. So it's literally all you, and you literally have to get out there and kind of establish what you want to do quickly. Especially where I was working, the odd jobs were, for example, like security.
Yeah.
It wasn't something I wanted to do long term. And then obviously my parents were telling me, look, if you're not going to do a master's, you need to obviously get your foot into something.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it was just more job searching, and then I was just reading like a variety of different job descriptions, and I think initially I stumbled across property management as a whole. Yeah. And then I started looking specific property management roles, and then I managed to find a graduate scheme for a company called Rendell and Rittner.
I know Rendell and Rittner well. Yeah. Residential predominantly.
It was solely residential, especially all the buildings that I looked after, and majority of our portfolios were all residential buildings across London.
How did you find residential? Because it can be quite, it's at times more challenging, I think, than commercial.
Personally, for me, I would say residential was ridiculously challenging, only because it's like you have smaller budgets, and it's just subject to obviously tenants paying, and rent is expensive, and then people's circumstances can really change, and it can really affect the amount of cash flow that comes into the company, and then that has a knock-on effect in regards to like repairs and certain issues. So I would say majority of my time at residential was although it was challenging, it was a good challenge, because it really, I don't know how to explain it, but it really made me a man in terms of like dealing with a lot of complaints whilst balancing so much stuff in terms of obviously general workload, and then just dealing with your customers and the clients.
Yeah.
So it was challenging.
Would you say it kind of helped you really cut your teeth within the industry and gave you some of the core skills that you would need to progress within the space?
Absolutely, because I felt like I was chucked into the deep end from day one. I just had to kind of adapt, and I just had to really start thinking, okay, how am I going to be able to swim? Yeah. So it was just collaborating with my property manager at the time, but then utilizing everyone within the company as a whole, because there was a big turnover. Right. Within that specific company. Yeah. So it was like you get familiar with someone and then they move and then systems start to change. Yeah. On the thing that was good about that graduate scheme is we had set training days and then set period of times where we'll go and shadow other people. So I just took advantage. I just had to take advantage.
No, fair. Well, I think you have to. I think that's a great way to do it, to be fair, because you're learning on the ground, 90% of the time, but then you've got that 10% of the time where it's, I'm guessing, module-based learning that helps you develop your insights and, your capabilities within the industry. It's really good. So you're at Knight Frank now. So tell us a bit about, I think, because you were at Rendell, was it 3 years?
Yes, I was at Rendell for 3 years. So my graduate scheme was 2 years. And then at the end of the graduate scheme, I said, okay, no, I need to, need to change. Plus, everyone was recommending me commercial. Yeah. I didn't necessarily look too deep into it, but definitely after my graduate scheme and after I was awarded my IOSH, I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to do the leap of faith and go into commercial. Yeah. Because obviously, you're looking for pay rises and you want like a good salary. I just listened to the advice and then I started looking for commercial roles. And then I stumbled across Cushman & Wakefield. So they had it was actually a maternity cover. So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to, just to get my foot in the door, I'm just going to apply for it. Yeah. Applied for it and I smashed that interview. I must admit, I really smashed that interview.
Oh, get on, man. Let me whip it. I smashed it. That's what I want to hear. Good stuff.
Yeah, I smashed it. I think what helped is because I had the understanding of property management. Yeah. And building management they're all still parallel, still the same. So
you got some real good experience in a challenging environment.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I mean, I imagine that's what they're looking for.
Yeah,
someone
absolutely.
that can deal with multiple problems, issues, and resolve them in a timely fashion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I literally just I just described building management as us being us BMs as being building surgeons. Yeah. Because I literally just noticed that like these assets that we're looking after, it's almost like a human body, and there's so many functions that need to work for it to just function properly. Yeah. And it's like, it's just way more serious than I thought when I first stepped in.
Yeah. That's a hell of an analogy. I like that. It's building like you know what I mean? If the kidneys ain't working, you're in trouble.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're now building manager of a prestigious building within the city. Mm-hmm. How long have you been there, and what are some of the challenges that you came across when you transitioned into that role?
Yeah. Funny enough, the challenges for me were always understanding plant. Right. So I was always like, wow, how do these people, especially the ones senior from me, who don't necessarily have engineering experience, I was like, how are you guys able to understand how all these systems work? Yeah. But then they always told me that it's not really about the plant. You'll get to understand it, but it's the people. Yeah. And I feel like managing people is a lot more difficult than obviously understanding plant, because you eventually naturally understand how all these systems work and obviously how to kind of rectify certain issues. But I think it's the management of people that I found quite challenging. A little bit challenging from time to time.
So how many people are you managing now?
Funny enough, it's not even necessarily my team. It's more, for example, like external contractors.
Ah, right, okay, contractors,
and also, for example, like let's say if there's a protest, just the unpredictability of what could happen.
The unpredictable nature.
It's more stuff like that I found quite challenging, especially as I've been assistant. I wasn't necessarily managing people directly, but I was forcing myself to in order for that step up.
Yeah.
But yeah, my teams they're not necessarily massive. I've got like around 10 people per building.
Yeah, still a lot, though.
Yeah, that's still quite
especially considering it's the first time that you've done it. Mm-hmm. That's a significant amount of people to manage. Especially if you take into account what actual management consists of. You've got their development to worry about. You've got any potential personal issues that they may have. You've got to support those individuals. That's a lot to take on because you're only how old, Tom?
27.
27 years old.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
and that was the thing, especially because with a lot of people around me were much older than me. So I always did think, are they going to take me serious?
Well, to be fair, mate, if you're the building manager, they haven't got a choice. That's the reality.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're in that position, you're in that position because of your own skill set and the work that you've done. So, they have to respect it. And I think, I work with this fella here. He's a lot younger than me. And I respect him. So it's one of those things. Okay, cool. So, So before you joined the facilities management industry, just to kind of take you back a little bit, what were your expectations of the industry before you came into it? Did you have any? Or?
To be fair, I came in with open mind only because of how I feel like with this industry, like it does kind of welcome you in with open arms. You don't necessarily need anything specific to come in. However, obviously, like transferable skills help. So for me, I just thought, okay, I'm just going to try to utilize my skills, and then whatever I need to do, I just need to just adapt really and truly. Yeah. I just came in with like an open mind. I'm just going to adapt to whatever it is that I need to do and whatever I'm faced with.
Yeah, what a great attitude. What an absolutely great attitude. Okay, so what aspects of facilities management do you find the most fulfilling and, dare I say it, exciting?
Do you know what's funny? I would say overcoming certain obstacles, for example, long-standing issues.
Right.
I could speak about like a specific issue we have at one of my buildings where there's like an external Glocknese clock that has just been faulty for a long period of time.
Right.
The previous manager couldn't really progress with it, but I've literally now overcome that, and we've literally just repaired it today.
Really?
So I think it's stuff like that. It's just watching the journey from something that, I don't know, where there's an issue with a particular aspect of a building, and then obviously just rectifying it, and now it's just fully working. I think I kind of like that.
So you get like, so are you saying that you get like a sense of pride from taking something
definitely.
that perhaps somebody else couldn't resolve, and you were able to resolve it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, brilliant. So, look, it's really clear that you've got a real passion for facilities management, and even after being in the industry for quite a short period, Daniel. How do you maintain that? How do you maintain that passion?
I think it's obviously seeing projects through. As I said, I feel like that's what I like, and I just like the fact that no 2 days are the same.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really become mundane. It's just like it's just every day I go in, I'm like, I don't know what could happen.
Yeah.
Because initially, like, there's been days where everything's fine, and then 4:30 happens, and then there's a leak, and it's like, I had some plans. So I don't know. I kind of like that, even though it's just so random. You just can't predict what can happen from day to day. So I kind of do like that. It keeps me going.
How do you feel about like the kind of 24/7 element to it? Because there is without doubt. I mean, being a young lad as well, young fella. Mm-hmm. How do you find that? Did that take some getting used to?
It did to an extent. Obviously, touch wood, nothing has ever occurred where I've had to respond out of hours. But Knight Frank are quite good because we do have measures in place.
Yeah.
And obviously through seniors, I've learned like what to do in the event of a fire, in the event of, I don't know, like some sort of leak, flood. So I kind of, but for me, I'm open to giving obviously my night team, I'll give them my personal number. So I can make myself available. It's like I'm happy to work for let's say for Knight Frank, for instance. So I'm happy to do what I need to do. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they do tell you beforehand anyway.
If
you don't want to, it's not like you can say, "I'm only coming in 9 to 5," mate.
No, exactly.
That's not that kind of scenario. Okay, brilliant. So, just in terms of helping people that want to break into the industry, what advice would you give them with regards to their CVs? What type of things? If let's say they're leaving university with not necessarily an FM qualification, similar to yourself, but you ended up in the industry. What advice would you give to people when they're distributing their CV? What do they need to have on it?
Yeah, I would say for me, it's management is good. So just management as a whole, for example, like time management. Obviously, if you can like show that you can like manage some sort of workload. But I feel like for me it was just how I was able to like manage myself and display how I can then manage a workload and what sort of steps and procedures that I can that I can put to show my usefulness. And definitely, like you do need confidence and a tough skin.
Yeah,
definitely, because obviously you're working with like a variety of people.
Yeah,
different stakeholders, and obviously you're looking after someone's asset.
Yeah.
So you do need that sort of like tough skin. But I feel like ultimately just being able to adapt is just key. Just explain that you can adapt, because the other things, I'm sure, if you can read and write, and you can send out a good email, those are the standards. But I feel like the stuff that you're not necessarily told specifically, like for example being able to adapt and managing your sort of your time and your workload, those are the three things I would say is definitely key.
Yeah. So did you have any sort of difficult times when you were applying for roles, when you came out of university, that maybe people could take learnings from? Was there anything like that where you're like, oh God, I got that wrong, I probably should have done it different?
I would say for me, I didn't. Like, funny enough, I didn't have much of an issue when I was applying, because I graduated in July, and then I got this job. Then I got my graduate job by November.
Right.
And I wasn't necessarily distributing my CV out.
Yeah.
To a lot of places, but then again, I might have just been lucky. But I was just very keen to just display that I'm overall I'm in a position where I can just. I'm just open to learning.
Yeah,
I feel like that's because that was my attitude leaving uni. That I'm just open to learning. I'm just gonna just adapt to whatever it was. So I haven't actually had any issues when I was applying. To be fair.
Okay. So did you use one of those like providers of graduate schemes and like that kind of scenario to get you in front of people? Because I know some people go down that route.
I was just searching via Google.
Yeah, really?
just simple Google search.
So you were just incredibly proactive.
Yeah.
And because of that proactive attitude, you ended up getting a position, and you liked it, and you've now been in the industry for 6 years.
I'll say for me, I was a bit ridiculously proactive, because there was times I was going back into the library.
Really?
To just send applications and just obviously just like understand what minor tweaks I can make to my CV.
But that is the right attitude.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says, because it really irritates me sometimes. Oh, there's no jobs. There is. If you have the attitude and you get yourself out there and you apply yourself and you just keep trying and trying and trying, then you will get where you want to get.
Yeah.
Eventually, and obviously you're a testament to that. Obviously, and you did it very quickly.
Yeah. So because like in most cases, I think the statistics are like, you come out of uni and you can find a job within like the next year or so. Some people, So I thought, once I heard that, I said, okay, I need to really treat this. I just need to go full throttle and just like not apply to anything, but just ensure that wherever I'm applying, I'm putting as much detail in as I can and making it specific to whatever role that I'm applying for.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Okay, and obviously, as an Arsenal fan, you've probably been quite used to failure over the years. So I mean, I can say that now, can't I?
No, but then again, I'm a deluded Arsenal fan.
Oh, you're a deluded one?
I'm not seeing the failures yet.
Yeah, I'm a deluded Man United fan. I tell people, I don't care. I lived through the 90s. I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like with me, we're still treble winners either way. So
yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. Too right. Okay, brilliant. So I guess as well, as a rising star within facilities management, and let's be honest, you are a rising star. What different roles or responsibilities have you taken on to help broaden your skill set and your horizons within the industry?
I'll say the major thing that I'm very grateful with. So obviously Mike too, my director. So I was with Knight Frank for, I'll say, around 6 months.
Yeah.
And he gave me two small buildings to look after.
Really?
And I was an assistant with portfolio. Right. So I had two small buildings that literally like 8,000 square foot, and I just had to manage it. Yeah. And wow, it was difficult, but because he had so much patience with me, I just gave him my all. But I'll say when he gave me those two small buildings to look after, that really elevated me.
So that took a bit of courage from you then to say, do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give that a crack and see how I get on.
Yeah.
And how long did you manage those 2 buildings for?
Oh, I still manage them now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, they're my babies.
You've still got those? They're your babies?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. So you've got another building on top of that then?
So I've got 2 big buildings and I've got 2 smaller ones. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. You've got 4 buildings.
Yeah, so I've got 4 buildings total. Yeah.
Bloody hell, I thought you had one.
Oh no, I've got 2.
You're an even bigger rising star than we realise. Dan. My God. Right, brilliant. Okay, so moving on to another thing, networking, has that been an important element of your career progression? And if it has, what tips would you have for people looking to break into the industry in terms of building your network and getting to know certain individuals and so on and so forth?
My networking was done solely once I was actually in...
right.
Yeah, so once I was actually in FM. But networking is brilliant because I must admit the sector as a whole is quite ancestral. Like everyone,
we all know each other. Everyone knows, everyone knows each other. Yeah.
So it's like for me, I'm open to, for example, if I need to go out with colleagues who are like twice my age, I will happily go out and just discuss their journey, and obviously just see how I can apply it to mine. But networking, definitely, I think that's across any industry. I think networking is brilliant.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of for example, I know IWFM, if I've said it correctly.
Yes.
They do have events and stuff like that you can obviously partake in. You can participate.
Do you get involved in them then?
Back then, no. But I was when I was in residential, I was getting involved in the IRPM. Everything IRPM related, I was going.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. And how did you find that?
Those are really good because with that's when I was meeting a lot more people who were recommending me commercial.
Oh, really?
So initially it was through those events where I was networking and discussing with just a bunch of random people, and then they were just recommending me, you'll be good for commercial, or they were just saying, commercial's really good, look into it.
So you were kind of like zero focused on commercial from a certain point.
And
a reason for that was because of networking.
Yeah, exactly.
It came onto your purview because of networking.
Yeah, and then look, and then now I really enjoy commercial.
Yeah. Okay. So what about the future? Where do you want to get to? Where do you see your career going within the industry?
With me, I must admit, I do like, obviously, I do see everything as like a staircase. So I'm looking to obviously progress. Yeah. I would really like to, I think the next step is obviously to progress to a much bigger building. Yeah. So I want a trophy asset.
Oh, a trophy. Oh, really? Trophy asset?
Yeah. I would really like a trophy asset.
Have you got a defined timeline or a goal within your mind for that?
So obviously I'm looking to do my NEBOSH at some point next year. So once I've completed my NEBOSH, definitely. So within the next 2 years.
Oh, 2 years?
Yeah. I would like
a trophy asset before 30.
Definitely before 30. Yeah, that's right. What I said. Yeah, before 30, I would like a trophy asset. I think it's the necessary jump.
Well, watch out, Mike Toohey and Jason Taylor. That's all I've got to say.
And plus, if you shoot high, if you do fall low, it'll be a nice big building.
Hey, look, so Richard Branson said, "Never say no."
Exactly.
Fake it until you make it. If you get offered an opportunity, take that opportunity and try your best. All you can do is fail.
Yeah, exactly.
I've failed loads in my career, but I've also learn from all of those failures.
It's the best place to learn.
It is. It's hard work at the time, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a real kick in the guts, when something doesn't work how you want it to. But that's all about, gathering experience throughout your career that you can use further down the road, and that's essential. It really, really is. I heard this story once about experience. I'm just gonna drop it in here because I found it really, really interesting. So there was a gentleman that owned a factory, right? And he had a machine worth about £1 million, and they couldn't fix this machine. He was spending significant amounts of money and hours paying this company to try and sort out this machine. He must have spent about 50 or 60 grand on it so far. So anyway, this older gentleman told him he could fix the machine, okay? The older gentleman charged him £500,000 to fix this machine, all right? The guy comes in, fixes it in about 5 minutes, machine's in full working order. The guy turns around and he says, "Why am I paying you £500,000 for that?" And the older gentleman goes, "You're not paying me £500,000 for the 5 minutes. You're paying me £500,000 for the 40 years of experience that I've got so that I was able to fix that machine."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I've probably told that story wrong, but it is a pertinent story.
Yeah.
I think.
No, I completely understand that, yeah.
Nothing like experience. Okay, brilliant. So, collaboration, mate. Obviously, a very important part of your job. Multiple contractors, I would assume, within your buildings, and so you've got to create that one team ethos. How do you collaborate with professionals within the industry that allows growth and learning within your teams and so on?
Oh, so I'll say just adapting per person. So obviously, I like to treat everyone as the individuals that they are.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just just general politeness, and I feel like obviously when you have an interest for someone, obviously that then gets reflected back to you, and then from that onwards, I feel like that's how you can build good relationships as well. Plus, I'd never like to leave like a bad taste in anyone's like mind. So I do go out my way to just pretty much just adapt myself to how I feel like is necessary for them. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Listen, there's also a really good bonus story about you, isn't there?
Yeah.
Go on, tell us the bonus story, because I think it's really heartwarming. I think it's brilliant. Go on.
Yeah. So now I've made the change from residential to commercial now. So I'm moving like Frank, and then I received my first bonus, and I was shocked about how much it was.
Yeah.
And then obviously discussing it with my seniors, obviously Mike too, he's saying obviously you deserve it.
Yeah.
And he's just saying, so what have you done with it? and I told him like, you know what, like I was just so grateful that I gave some to my mum. I haven't really even spent nothing on myself. First thing I done, I just gave some to my mum.
What did your mum get herself something nice with it? Or?
I'm not too sure what my mum done with it, to be honest. But I think it's just because me and mum we're just so close and tight.
You are.
So to be fair, a lot of my wages I'll happily give to my mum.
Really?
But that I was like, you know what? If I could, I would have given her everything. I would have given her the whole thing.
Really?
But it was just I don't know. It's just a good feeling.
Yeah. So are your parents quite proud of where you've got to so far? I mean, they must be really happy with your career journey so far.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with like my mum kind of leaves me to get on with things because she's made me very independent from quite young. Yeah. So I feel like everything that I'm doing or anything I'm achieving, I think is kind of like a reflection of the decisions that she's made and any sacrifices that she's also made for me. So it's good. I'm kind of like the non-problematic child. So,
are you? Okay. So, you're the good one.
I would like to think so.
How many have you got, brothers and sisters? How many have you got?
So I've got one younger brother and then two younger sisters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they're significantly younger. So my little brother is so he's 18, and then the two girls are 17 and then 14. So I'm the eldest.
Yeah, you'd be quite like a mentor to them then. I
guess. So I think that's why like my mum literally just made me feel independent. I'm quite young, so I feel like it's been quite good. So I just it's been really good in terms of just helping her for anything that she may need. And
also free babysitting for her. when the children were kind of young. Yeah. Oh, good. So that's a skill in itself, to be fair, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm a father of 3 children myself, so I know.
Nice. Yeah.
I know how difficult it can be.
Nice.
Okay, brilliant. So moving on, what advice regarding sort of learning and development specifically? Would you give to someone starting their career in FM?
Oh yeah, this is a very good question. I would say, do you know? I'll tell you right. Although you come in as an assistant, but you really need to have the mindset of you being a BM.
Yeah,
that helps a lot because then that way you just get involved in everything, and then you start requesting to be, for example, like CC'd into this, being involved in meetings, being involved in walkarounds. So I'll say just indulging yourself in everything your BM is doing. Yeah. Like literally shadow him, because although you're an assistant and you can just think, okay, my job is just to do whatever he's given me, but no, I mean demand stuff. Like almost you're not taking his job, but you wanna. Yeah, you want to be on the same level as him.
Yeah,
especially
of course,
if he plans on going on annual leave, you're going to be the main person. So just prepare yourself from early.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll say just indulge yourself in every aspect of the role.
Really?
Yeah, I'll say that's.
All right then. And outside of work, what do you like to get up to apart from going to watch the Gooners?
For me, I do like a bit of football, but because obviously my best friend plays football, so he's really good. So
is he really?
I'm not.
Who does he play for?
There was a period of time where we were younger. He was playing for Watford.
Really?
Yeah. Then he was at Crawley Town. Then injuries. So I do like to maintain the football, but other than that, like I'm just more into YouTube.
Yeah.
And just trying to travel.
Really?
As much as possible. Yeah.
Where do you like to go?
I've travelled to quite a variety of places. So France, I've got family in France. I'm always in France. But for example, like next month, I'm going to go to Egypt.
Egypt. Whereabouts in Egypt?
We're going to go Cairo. So we're going Sharm el Sheikh, then we're flying into Cairo, and hopefully do Luxor as well.
Are you going to see You're going to go see the Valley of the Kings and the pyramids and
yeah, everything. Yeah. So I've got the whole bucket list planned. So I'm going to be doing So we've got a tour scheduled. So yeah, we'll be seeing the pyramids and everything.
I'll tell you something that you should do, and I haven't done it myself, but someone I know, I go fishing with him actually. He's an older gent. He did a cruise along the Nile.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Said it was amazing. And it was from Luxor, I believe.
Yeah.
But apparently, you have to do it. Apparently,
I feel like that is part of one of the packages because there's some sort of package tour that I've purchased and it's got everything.
Yeah. The Valley of the Kings. Because do you know, I've been to Egypt twice. I've not done Cairo.
The
Valley of the Kings, and every time I go, I'm like, this time I'm doing it. You know, but I just haven't. But I need to get it done. It's on my bucket list. I
know it's amazing.
Whereabouts in France have you got family?
Paris.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're all in Paris.
Yeah. Do you speak French?
Yeah.
Fluently?
Yeah.
Really?
I'll say intermediate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they hear the English accent and go, yeah?
But they love the English accent too.
Do they?
Yeah. And if anything, they always want me to speak English, but I always want to speak French.
Really?
So to better my French. So it's
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Well, listen, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Dan, how did you find it?
Oh yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
Nice. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I just want to say your enthusiasm, and nobody can see this, but this young gentleman has got a fantastic smile. He's clearly incredibly enthusiastic about the industry. So it's been an absolutely fantastic podcast, mate. I've really enjoyed having you on.
No, brilliant. Thank you.
And good luck in your career.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Lovely. All right, Wear Many Hats listeners. That's another episode of Risings. I'd like to thank Daniel for coming on and taking the time to have a chat with us. We will speak to you next time. Take care all.